Henning Knattandberg.
Very close. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to go live for Swordfish 2013 in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sweden. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sweden for the 7th annual Swordfish Championship, powered to you by GHFS. Fencers have gathered from all corners of the world to bash it out in a 2-day tournament. And tonight, we crown the champions of 4 different martial disciplines: rapier, saber, wrestling, and longsword. My name is Scott Helroth, and with me is Matt Gallus.
This year's rules are simple and easy. The fencers fight for a combined total of 6 minutes, broken into 2 3-minute rounds. At the end of that time period, the fencer who has scored the most points is the victor. Fencers can score by cutting, thrusting, or by showing domination in wrestling.
Okay, guys, so on screen now you see our wrestling finals overview. In lightweight, we have Kit Smith from the UK facing off against very difficult Michael Wigren of Sweden, senior wrestling instructor of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. Middleweight is Magnus Lundborg versus I Kolweis. And for the grand finale, the heavyweight. And what's so cool about this final is that Staffan Sannemalm defends his heavyweight title. However, last year's middleweight champion, Gregor Medjevic, has gone up to heavyweight to challenge Sannemalm for the heavyweight title. So it's a champion versus champion bout.
Scott, the thing that's so interesting about the wrestling is that these wrestlers are not just wrestlers, they're swordsmen as well. And I know all of fence and other disciplines, other martial disciplines, rapier, longsword, and they're excellent fencers as well.
Well, we lost our map. Oh, that's back. Our finals overview. So we have our 4 different categories. First up tonight will be saber. I can see that on your screen at home that rapier and dagger is first, but the first out will be saber. For third place we have Johan Newberg versus Andreas Engström. They're both from Sweden. And for first place, Johan Lundby, the monk, defends his title against
Grzegorz Brzezinski of Poland.
Thanks for helping me out there, Matt. Next up after that, we'll fall into the rapier and dagger. For third place, Rob Ronikers versus Pier Marco Terminiello will duke it out for third place, which will, I think, be a really cool fight.
No doubt. And Francesco Loda, who won first place last year, is essentially defending his title for first place versus Rinka of the UK as well.
The champion again defends his title. After that, we'll head into ladies longswords. Ladies longswords, where for third place, Barbara Shablowska will meet last year's winner, Maria Jessica Geyer? Metta Sophie Geyer, I'm so sorry guys. For first place, Elisa Keskinen will face off against the very difficult Claudia Krause. And for the grand finale, we just lost our longsword bout. We'll get to that later.
For the grand finale, we have Matthias Parmala of Finland against Marcus Pettersson of Sweden, and Grzegorz Brzezinski of Poland against Hans Jordlund of Sweden. Interesting thing here, you notice that Grzegorz Brzezinski of Poland is fighting for the first place bouts in both saber and longsword. Quite an achievement for our Polish friends.
Absolutely. Our first fight of the evening will be between Andreas Engström and Johan Nordberg for third place in the saber tournament. Sorry guys, you can see us on the screen now. We're waiting for the players to enter the arena. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry to delay you, but we're not finding our fight.
Well, Scott, I can make a few comments while we're waiting. One of the things that's very interesting about this year's competition here at Swordfish is a few rule changes, and one of them is the introduction of weighted scoring into all the weapons categories. The other thing that is also a major change is that we all know about the afterblow, but in the rule sets used this year, the afterblow scores for full value in all the different weapon categories. So this is it's a big change. I think it was first tested out at Fechtschule America earlier this year. It was a good experiment, and so the tournament organizers here at Swordfish decided to run with that and introduce it here. The feedback we have had so far has been very positive, both from the fighters, the judges, and from some of the senior members of the HEMA community who have been here.
As well, for this tournament, we've strived to keep a fresh staff of judges as possible. So we've had 5 fights. Sorry, guys.
So there will be 5 judges in the bouts here, and you can see that for our first bout here, we're talking saber, and we have a very mixed international crew of judges, with 2 from the Netherlands, 1 from Sweden, and 1 from the United States. That's for this first bout, which is saber. Jake Norwood, one of the judges, very experienced saber competitor himself, has fought in this ring before. Epic bout a couple of years ago, and we have 2 of our members of AMEC from the Netherlands who have done a fantastic job stepping up to the judging staff for this year.
And here come the fighters.
Refereeing for this bout and for most of the others is Scott Brown, who's just passed across the camera. Scott Brown of Schwert am Schwert, a group originally in Houston, Texas, now in Orlando, Florida.
Andreas Engström, the senior instructor of GHFS.
Andreas Engström is a very seasoned fighter and a very seasoned instructor, and is a longtime saber instructor.
Engström came second place in saber at Swordfish 2011. He won the first Dusak Swordfish for 2010, and he was the best fighter for saber in Vienna 2011.
This is one of the nice things about Andreas. He is one of those fighters. He's one of those instructors who can put his money where his mouth is and step into the ring and perform up to standard.
Now let's see how Engström cracks Norberg. Engström's style is typically cut, and instead of parry, he is a fighter that prefers to step out of distance rather than to parry the afterblow.
So the fencer's closing into distance, quick engagement. Each one sensing out the other, taking a few cuts.
Engström strikes to the leg of Norberg.
Nice.
Beautiful, that should earn him 1
Raises his point high to catch his attention, ducks down for a quick blow to the outside of the leg.
Point for Engström of Sweden.
And Norberg evens the score.
Strike by Engström.
Looks like an
with an
afterblow.
Afterblow by Nordberg.
And the judges do not agree on the outcome, so that would be no score.
Ooh.
Looks like a cut and an afterblow.
Strike to the arm by Engström and responded by Norberg, if I'm not mistaken.
Now again, with these new rule sets, you see there's a score for both parties there because the afterblow scores as well now. So it's 1 point for each of the competitors.
And this is to discourage suicidal kind of fencing, because if you can strike with the first initial blow and score a 1 point, but the opponent can strike and receive a higher score with the afterblow.
And that looks like a double hit. Yes, that's what the judges have decided. Now this military saber system that they're using is very fascinating because it's one of the elements of HEMA that really is truly universal across all the European countries. The military saber was so widely used across the European armies that literally there are fencing manuals from every country in Europe dealing with the use of this weapon. And even outside of Europe, places like Japan, where they adopted Western methods, you have saber manuals for the Western saber in a country of Japan, which we associate with the katana.
Strike to the head by Engström.
So, Andreas Engström with a slight lead, but a very even match so far.
So the ref has called a halt for the first round, the second, and they have a 1 minute rest for the second round of 3 minutes. Quite even here after the first round, with 3 points for Engström to 2 points for Nordberg. Engström in blue, Nordberg in red.
Referees Scott Brown. Our judges are Stallenberg of the Netherlands, Norwood of the United States,
Sverre Wichers of the Netherlands and Jenny-Ann Pettersson of Sweden.
It's a very international, mixed group of judges.
Oh, strike to the stomach by Nordberg. Andreas responses with a strike to the shoulder. It's called as a double hit. And that is the third double hit.
Upwards blow.
Both fighters feeling each other out, testing their distance.
Norberg seems to show a
Oh, strike to the arm by Engström. Beautiful, well timed.
nice blow to the inside of the arm by Andreas Engström.
Point awarded.
And again, because of our weighted scoring, a blow to the arm is 1 point. Engström expanding his lead. Now both of these fencers are fighting from a middle guard. Oh, looks like Engström got a deep cut to the chest and parried the afterblow. Engstrom now with a commanding lead, but with the weighted scoring, that could change very quickly.
Very quickly indeed. Ooh. See, as I talked about before, how Engstrom likes to withdraw from distance instead of parrying. It's kind of his one of his signals. Oh, strike to the midsection by Norberg. Engstrom responses with the after blow.
10 seconds left in the bout. Looks like we have a cut to the arm by Norberg. Just in the nick of time, Norberg pulls out a cut to the arm, but too little, too late.
Andreas Engstrom, the senior instructor of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School.
Saber instructor pulled out a victory against Johan Norberg,
and
who also made a respectable performance.
And lands on third place. A very happy man indeed. Both fighters also close friends. Hug it out. Good fight.
So we have some of our event sponsors. We have Klebowski Swords, Simon Klebowski Swords. Simon is a very skilled longsword fencer. He fought in the tournaments today. M-Blades, run by Martin Kamphuis and Yuval Kuipers, who also produced the software used for this event. And Albion Europe, whose name has really come to symbolize high-quality swords.
Yeah, it is the end of the line before it's handmade Smith swords, you could say. So next up will be our finals for Saber, with Johan Lundby fighting for first place against the infamous Gregor Brzezinski.
Johan Lundby, known as the Fighting Monk, actually soon to be ordained as a priest.
Will he defend his title? As
the Fighting Monk. Grzegorz Brzezinski is also fighting in the longsword. So you'll be seeing a lot of him tonight.
Will Johan Lundby successfully defend his Saber championship? Saber title.
This will be very interesting. Lundby is a very technical fighter with a very fine touch and a penchant for really taking the arm, the weapon arm. Brzezinski is a ferocious fighter who shows a lot of emotion when he fights. He seems often that he's sort of angry. You wonder if that's for real or whether he's just using that as a psychological game to intimidate his opponents. But I expect you'll see a lot of sparks flying tonight, both from the swords and from the fighters.
And Brzezinski is a fighter that likes to keep himself busy. He fights in as many tournaments as he can. You will recognize him from Swordfish 2012 when he won the Sword and Buckler tournament.
So Lundby in red, Brzezinski blue.
The clinch, bit of a scuffle.
As predicted, Brzezinski comes out of the corner swinging. A warning for fighting after the halt.
Which puts Lundby after that scramble. Lundby tops with 2 points in the lead.
So we'll see how Lundby adjusts his game.
Brzezinski testing the god of Lundby, seeing how he reacts. Lundby not giving in. Strike low by Lundby.
And a double hit. It'll be interesting to see how Lundby adjusts his game to deal with the very aggressive style of Brzezinski.
Notice well that Lundby is a left-handed fighter, which will make things more difficult for Brzezinski.
Nice feint by Brzezinski, but it falters against the solid defense of Lundby.
His movements are so effective, so calm. No unnecessary movement in the fighting of Lundby. Bam! Strike to the midsection by Medjevic. Lundby answers to the shoulder. Or was it the other way around, maybe?
Brzezinski moved in. Lundby struck him on the way in, but was struck by the after blow in turn. And both score, of course, under these rules.
Whoa! Strike again to the midsection by Brzezinski. Lundby counters. To the shoulder of Brzezinski.
Lundby seems like he needs to open up his distance. He's allowing Brzezinski to get in close, which is a mistake with a fighter as aggressive and powerful as Brzezinski. If Lundby is not careful, this will devolve into a series of traded blows, which doesn't work well for a technical fighter like him.
Cut to the hilt, to the basket. Call this a double. Time has been reached. End of the first round. Lundby in the lead, 4-2 against Brzezinski of Poland.
So that'll be a 1-minute break before they resume fighting for another 3 minutes. All right, our 1-minute break is over, and it's time to resume fighting for another 3 minutes.
The monk returns to defend his title against the aggressive Brzezinski. Strike, a laid off the blow by Lundby, apologizing.
So the fencers are using Regenier sabers. Peter Regenier as well is a one point each, so Lundby retains his lead. Peter Regenier, who made these swords, is a swordsman himself. This seems to be a standard in HEMA of our smiths being swordsmen.
Wow! It looked like a clinch, a separation, strike to the head by Brzezinski. Lundby answers at the simultaneously. No score given. Lundby in red. Looked like a double to me. And the judges call it a double. Judges couldn't agree on that last exchange. Strike and a miss. Clinch, strike to the head. So half a minute left in the fight.
Yep.
Lundby only above with one score.
Brzezinski has adopted this tactic of running in, striking hard and closing. But this tactic has not worked well for him because every time he does that, he gets struck with an afterblow.
10 seconds. Brzezinski in the lead. Lundby now desperate. Strike! Break of lead! Oh, wow!
From the left,
what an ending! We have a new champion, ladies and gentlemen. Brzezinski.
Wow, Brzezinski behind up until the very last exchange.
Very happy.
I have to eat my words there. I said his strategy wasn't effective, but at the last minute, he managed to pull that out.
A very happy Brzezinski.
8-7, and the Poles, of course, always very vocal.
Grzegorz Brzezinski, ladies and gentlemen, of Poland.
So, Brzezinski
defeats Johan Lundby, the last year's champion. We have a new champion, ladies and gentlemen. Now, shortly.
Now, but
followed by some.
Remember, Brzezinski will be fighting in longsword as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he can pull out two medals.
Two medals
two
in one evening.
Place medals.
Now, shortly to you, interviews with the fighters shortly we'll have some interviews followed by lightweight wrestling finals. The wrestling will be divided over the entire evening, so we'll have the wrestling coming up after some interviews, and then we'll go over to Rapier, where Rob Runikers will fight for third place against...
So let's talk about a few of our event sponsors. Regenier Armory. Peter Regenier is a well-known swordsman himself who has competed in many of the tournaments over the years, including at this Swordfish. The sabers used in this fencing match we just saw for saber were by Peter Regenier. Absolute Force, producing a wide variety of HEMA protective gear for competitions. And PBT Historical Fencing doing the same with a line of historical fencing masks and jackets and gauntlets, both Absolute Force and PBT Fencing. So the next event will be the wrestling. And this will be a theme throughout the evening. We will have a weapon event that is interspersed with a weapon event. So now it is time for us to go on to wrestling. We will have lightweight wrestling. And the rules for this are 2 one-minute rounds with a very brief break in between to give the fighters a rest. But then when they wrestle, it's essentially a 3-point system. If there is a throw or a pin, it's 1 point. If there is a throw where the other fighter remains standing, that's 2 points. And if there is a move that's carried out that has a high technical sophistication to it, the judges have the option of awarding 3 points. So it is actually 2 one-minute rounds, but if there is a tie, they have the option of going to a third round to determine the victor.
Yeah, the winner of 2 rounds is the winner of the tournament. So the winner
Correct.
of 2 rounds, and if there is 1 round each, well, they will go on to a third round. If there is a draw still, there will be a sudden death round. So it's not by scores in the actual in the round. It's the
You're right. The scoring is done within each round, and the scores determine who wins that round. And so the wrestler who wins 2 rounds, based on
Exactly.
the scores within that round, is the victor. And if we have a tie in our 2 1-minute rounds, we will have a third sudden death round. So waiting for our wrestlers. This wrestling tournament has been run by Peter Smallridge of the UK, who is also going to be our referee, and it looks like our wrestlers are on the way in.
the very crafty
Mikhail Whittegren on screen.
In the red corner, independent wrestler out of Mannequin, Kit Smith.
on screen is Mickey Vigren. There you have Kit Smith.
In the blue corner, from Budapest, Sweden, Mikael Vigren.
Mikkel Vigren, ladies and gentlemen. Mikkel Vigren is a senior wrestling instructor of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School, as well as a senior instructor of saber at Gothenburg Historical Fencing School. He's weighing in at 70 kilos. Kit Smith, slightly lighter, weighing in at 68 kilos.
And significantly older. Kit is 45 years old, so
Mikkel Vigren with a background in MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Goes for the single, clinches to the head, the choke position, rolls around. Mickey on top. Penny for 3 seconds. Kit scrambling out. Mickey gets back up. Very nice indeed. Fighter scrambling. Mickey going for the back. Kit is big. He's got the stomach. Down on top. And Kit moving into turtle position, that's not to lie, with belly flat out, which would give Mika a point. In the clinch. Oh, beautiful, Mickey Vigren. I hope you saw that on screen. He flipped Kit Smith onto the ground, earning 1 point.
Mikhail is as good of a swordsman as he is a wrestler,
He's an excellent swordsman.
both with a long
Rolls
sword
down.
and with the saber and
Scrambling.
with the Dusak.
Mick on his feet, both fighters back up. Goes for the double leg takedown. Kit is a tough fighter. Ah, almost. Now I'm not sure because I thought Mickey Vigren scored a point earlier, but it doesn't appear on the screen. Perhaps Smallbridge will announce the winner of that round. Hug.
So I gather
So
what has happened
when-
is that our referee is keeping track of the scores in his head, and then we get the final outcome
Yeah.
at the end.
So winner of the first round. Winner, that was the fight. That was it. Winner is Micke Wigren. The lightweight champion is Micke Wigren.
Just to clarify, that was our misunderstanding. There were 2 rounds there. There were 2 rounds, but there was no break actually called by the referee. I guess when he separated the wrestlers, he separated them and the second round began. So the victor of that was Mikael Wigren of those 2 rounds of wrestling.
In a very exciting lightweight bout. Now over to Meg Floyd for interviews.
Hello, ladies. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here tonight with one of the forefront figures of Swedish HEMA, the legendary Axel Pedersen. Axel, could you tell me a little bit about the focus of Swordfish this year?
Thank you, Meg. The focus of Swordfish is pretty broad, I suppose, because we have an amazing variety of workshops this year. We have a whole bunch of new instructors coming up. We have Hungarians in for the first time, Szabolcs Waldman and Laszlo Schindler, and a number of other people who have also been before, like Kevin Maurer and Francesco Loda and others. And of course we also have a large tournament focus, as you've been seeing now behind us. We've been trying hard this year to increase the number of judges for the tournament in order to relieve them of some fatigue and to increase the quality of the judging. Still, of course, it's very difficult as a judge when you go through hours and hours of tournament fencing. We've also this year tried to increase the quality of the tournament, so we've asked people not to approach the Swordfish tournaments and participate unless they have some previous experience. And so far I think it's played out pretty well because we've seen some really amazing fights yesterday and today.
Now, Axel, you're certainly one of the best-known international figures in HEMA, and your travel record is incredibly impressive, as well as your tournament record. You've been raking in victories in Holland, the United States, and all over Europe. What is it that makes Swordfish special compared to these other events that you've been to, because you've been to a lot?
Thanks a lot. There's something unique about all the events. I've been to Poland and America and everything, a lot of countries in between. At Swordfish, though, I think we have the most diversity when it comes to different nationalities participating, and that really makes Swordfish unique. We try to keep the costs down. People sleep on mattresses on the floor, not at hotel rooms, but it also allows us to take in people who come from far away. Eastern Europe, we have participants from Mexico and Chile and Canada, United States, and I think that's really what stands out to me for Swordfish.
I know our audience is going to be curious. Why are you not fighting at Swordfish this year?
Well, I've sustained a shoulder injury, so I cannot participate. I'll probably be gone from training for a few months. And I also know there are a lot of other great fencers who are not here today. Dennis Ljungqvist has a broken hand. A lot of great American fencers like Dustin Reagan, Nathan Grapars and Jacob Norwood cannot participate either. Anton Kojtovic from Slovakia is not here, and a number of other really good fencers, which is unfortunate, of course, but it has also opened up for a lot of other talent that we have seen today, and so it's been very interesting to see the tournament, to see all the new names popping up.
Now, obviously, Swordfish is very special to the community. What place in the community do you see Swordfish and its role of taking HEMA into the future?
I hope that our role will become less and less, actually. I hope that there will be many other events as large and as successful as Swordfish, and we already see a lot of them. So I hope that the community grows to the extent where Swordfish is one of many amazing events. Of course, I'm very happy that we have, or that we are able to have some influence over the community, but it also puts a lot of responsibility on our shoulders that we do things correctly. Tournaments, for example, is a bit controversial in historical fencing circles, and we we really try hard and make a lot of effort into making tournaments something productive, something that brings the community forward. And I hope we can continue to do that. I also hope that we can continue to gather people from a lot of different nations, because it's not only the workshops and the lectures and the tournaments, it's the social interaction, being able to meet face to face that has really helped us put historical fencing on the map and helped HEMA to move forward as a community.
Thank you very much, Axel. We look forward to watching Swordfish move into the future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go back to the arena now.
Okay, so it looks like we're done with the wrestling. Our next event is going to be rapier. One of the things I'll say while I have a little bit of time is that, and I don't, our rapier competitors are entering.
The infamous Rob Ronekers and Pier Marco Terminiello. Ronekers in screen.
Pier Marco Terminello is a very interesting person because he is not only a researcher and a translator, but an excellent competitor as well, and an instructor in the rapier. And one of the things that he has done is recently discovered a lost fencing manual. We'll talk about that in a minute. Rob Runekers, formerly of School of the Sword, has now branched out and opened his own school, his new school. Pier Marco on screen right now recently discovered a manuscript by the famous rapier manual, or rapier master, Giganti, from 1608, that was believed to have never been written or to have been lost. Pier Marco found it in an archive and is publishing it later this year. He's really, I have to say, Scott, he is an exemplar for the HEMA community. He is all those things wrapped into one. He is the researcher, he is the translator, he is the fencer.
And currently the fighter. Pier Marco Terminiello in blue from School of the Sword faces off against Rob Ronekers in red from Comilitium Historical Fencing.
So, Pier Marco Terminello, 1 point. Now, in rapier this year, we have weighted scoring. Thrusts to the head or the body score for 3. Cuts to the head score for 3. All other cuts and thrusts score for 1 point.
Pier Marco testing the god of Ronekers.
These two know each other well. Rob Ronekers, originally from the School of the Sword, branching out with his own school
lunge by
now.
Ronekers, cut by Ronekers. Cut and a miss.
Two very experienced swordsmen. Feint at the foot, nice void by Ronekers. Thrust and parry.
See how both fighters are really feeling each other out. This is chess.
Up.
Strike.
Looks like a light cut to the leg. That's what it looked like to me. That should be a 1 point.
Point for Pier Marco in blue.
So again, all cuts and thrusts to the leg would be worth 1 point. Looks like our judges cannot agree.
parry by Runekurs. Lunge. Strike with a dagger. I'm not sure how the judges will score that one. There's no exchange. The judges could not agree.
Rapier and dagger is difficult to judge. There's a lot going on. You have 4 weapons to keep track of, all of which are capable of scoring a point. And when they get in close, the action can become very confusing for the judges.
Lunge by Runekurs.
Beautiful parry. And that difficulty
no exchange
reflected again in the no exchange score of the judges, who could not reach a uniform decision.
End of the first round. Pier Marco Terminiello, 2 in the lead against Rob Runekurs in red.
Overall, the reaction to the weighted scoring system has been very positive. One thing we have realized, though, over the course of this event and recent events that have used weighted scoring, is that it places a much heavier demand on the judges, because especially with the after blow scoring full value, the judges have to remember the action and break it down, and then not only just evaluate it but also score it for both sides. It's difficult, and we're finding that our judges are doing a good job. But in some cases, you find that if there's a mistake made, it can magnify that mistake, because instead of maybe perhaps a fencer getting 1 score or nothing, no score, he may by accident get three points. So you can have the significance or the magnitude of a mistake can be exaggerated by this system. One of the downsides, but overall, the feedback has been very positive so far.
And here we go again.
Rob Runekurs taking this interesting stance with his left foot
Strike,
forward.
lunge by Pier Marco.
His right foot
I think
forward.
it slipped in, struck the midsection of Runekurs. Three points for blue. Pier Marco in the lead by 5-0.
Commanding lead by Pier Marco, or Pim as his friends know him as. Pim Terminello has a long list of victories in tournaments.
Cut to the throat by Rob Runekurs. Beautiful, beautiful cut. Three points for red. Rob Runekurs is back in the game, ladies and gentlemen. Another score like that will put him in the lead. Things can change quickly with weighted scoring system. Scuffle.
As we saw in the saber fight with Brzezinski, who came from behind to win the bout.
No exchange. The judges could not agree on that. Strike to the midsection by Rob. Pier Marco answers with the after blow. Rob needs to up. One minute left of the match. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I said 30 seconds before. It's 1 minute left. Exchange. Strike. Rob Runekurs went down if he overextended in the lunge. And Pier Marco Terminiello in the lead.
Oh.
Strike by Pier Marco.
Beautiful thrust to the chest by Pim.
Did run a curse
but the
answer.
judges unable to agree.
Couldn't agree.
Very international judging staff here.
Pierre Marco takes the third place against Rob Runacurse here at Swordfish 2013.
Pim Terminello showing himself once again to be a first-rate fencer as well as an instructor, not to mention a researcher and a translator and author.
Swordfish 2013,
Well
ladies
done,
and gentlemen, powered
Pim
by
Terminello.
GHFS.
Our event sponsors, Sparring Gloves, Ensifer, the swords by Jan Chodkiewicz, who himself is also a swordsman, and the well-known Spes historical fencing gear, producing a wide range of products, fencing jackets, and other protective gear.
Next
Drum
up,
roll.
enter the champion, Francesco Loda, defends his title from 2012 against the very competent Reinis Rinka. Did I pronounce that correctly, Matt? Loda in red. You see him in screen now. The very loved senior instructor at
From the Accademia Romana in Italy, Francesco Loda. In the blue corner from the Academy of Historical Arts in the United Kingdom, Ryan Rinka.
Loda of Accademia Romana d'Armi.
Two very experienced fencers with a good record of tournament wins on both sides. Loda defending his title.
And Rinka from the Academy of Historical Arts won first place in longsword in Ejbana. I didn't hear that tournament. Did you hear it?
No,
So-
I can't say that I have, Mr.
No,
Hellrod.
sorry, I meant that victory. I can't remember. I can't remember hearing Rinka win that victory.
So, the referee is Reinier van Noort of the Netherlands, himself a very experienced saber instructor, or sorry, rapier instructor. Both fencers feeling each other out, very cautiously entering into measure.
Exchange. Three points for the
points,
champion, Francesco Loda.
It looks like
in
it was
red.
a thrust to the chest by Loda. And again, under the weighted scoring system, worth 3 points. So that gives him a sizable lead.
Oh,
Beautiful
wow!
thrust.
Right through the guard of Rinka. What a beautiful thrust by Loda.
When fencing rapier and dagger, the idea is to thrust between the rapier and the dagger. Loda did that perfectly. Beautiful, unanswered thrust by Francesco Loda.
Wow, textbook
Commanding
thrust.
lead, 3 points per thrust to the body. Total of 6 points by Loda with his 2 thrusts to the chest.
Strike and a parry.
Oh,
Strike.
looks like we had a cut. The referees don't seem to have noticed that. Looked like a cut to the head by Loda. Oh, and it
Thrust.
looked like a thrust to the head by Loda as well. We'll see what the
Looked
what
like
our
a double to
judges
me.
say.
Scored as a double. Loda, although the lead, still putting pressure on Reinis.
Oh, it looked like a cut to the head. The judges did not see it.
Oh, wow! And the spin!
Beautiful
Strike
thrust.
through the guard by Lauda!
Right
And a
between the
360
rapier and
spin!
the dagger. And a
Wow.
spin out to the side by Francesco Loda.
What is that technique called, Matt?
A girata, I believe it would probably be called in rapier circles.
Wow.
Certainly among the Italians.
9-0 to Lauda.
Beautiful thrust by Francesco Loda.
30 seconds left in the third round. Rinka clearly needs to rethink his game plan.
Loda clearly feeling more confident if he's going to pull off that kind of a move. Very technical. But looks like Rinka stepped up and
Strike.
managed to land a thrust of his own. Good thrust to the chest by Rinus Rinka of the
So-
UK.
Even if you see that it's 9-3. Referee calls break. Rinka only needs 2 clean hits to make it equal, and he's got 3 more minutes to do that. So Rinka is still in the game, ladies and gentlemen.
Still in the game, and with this weighted scoring system, especially with a cut to the head being worth 3 points, and a thrust to the head or the body being 3 points, this game can turn around really in a matter of heartbeats.
I think that was one of the nicest techniques I've seen in a rapier final. Strike through the guard, 360 spin. What did you call that?
Well, a girata, I guess, is what you would call it. The interesting thing about it, though, is that that offline movement gets him out of line so he avoids any potential afterblow.
Lauda in screen, getting ready for round 2 here at Swordfish 2013.
It'll be interesting to see how Rinka treats this. He needs to come from behind. I expect to see a much more aggressive Rinka in this round. We'll see if he's flushed from victory from his last point. One of the judges, Scott Farrell of Scotland, saw a point. None of the other judges agreed. Beat by Loda. You can feel the tension between these two, feeling out each other.
Electricity here at Swordfish. Strike! Thrust with the dagger. Counted as a double.
Loda has a very precise style, very nice, precise way of moving. His footwork is very lovely to watch. Loda.
Oh, wow! Undeniable strike by Rinka.
Tears the mask cover off of Loda's mask. So
Time has been stopped. It's not the end of the bout. Loda's helmet, as you saw, the head protection flew off this helmet. He's just readjusting it.
So we have a very international judging staff. Jake Norwood of the United States, Christina Konsmo from Norway, Scott Farrell from Glasgow, Scotland, and Roman Vuchank of Slovenia. So this fight could go either way at this point.
Oh, wow!
Looks like we have a thrust landed by Loda. Afterblow. No points awarded.
Cut. A parry. Thrust. Loda thrust.
Oh.
Follows up with a dagger to the chest.
Looked like
Did Rinka get the off the blow?
Looks like our judges cannot agree on the outcome. In this scoring system, they score the differential between the points. And so I guess on that one exchange, it was a hit and an afterblow. and the end result was a wash. One point for blue, 7-9. Loda, oh, beautiful thrust. Unexpected by Loda upon the advance, the tempo given
10 seconds.
3-point thrust to the chest by Loda.
Time is called,
And
Francesco Loda defends his title against Rinka, the winner of Italy, in red. His countrymen here today to cheer their senior instructor.
very, very convincing victory by Francesco Loda. Beautiful thrust right between his opponent's rapier and dagger to the chest. Total of 4 3-point thrusts to the chest. Beautiful swordsmanship by Francesco Loda, successfully defending his title at
If that
Swordfish.
fight doesn't earn you a technical award, I don't know what will. Wow.
And now we have our sponsors. Again, Absolute Force, Regenier Swords, PBT Historical Fencing, Sparring Gloves for Longsword
he
by
wants me
Barbara
behind you.
Klebowska, Ensifer Swords by Jan Hodkiewicz, Spes Historical Fencing Gear, Simon Klebowski Swords, M-Blades by Martin
This is Meg
Kampeis
again here with
and
the
Albion
youngest
Europe.
fencer here at Swordfish
This
2013,
is gear
Jack Gassman.
by
Jack
fencers
hails from
for
Switzerland.
fencers.
Jack, how are you enjoying Swordfish this evening?
Oh, I'm loving it. It's one of the best events of the year, I find.
Any experiences that you're glad to take home with you this year?
I mean, with Swordfish, every experience is worth taking home. Just it's a fact. But I've had some really wonderful fights with Johan Lundvi and Michael Szymon Chabowski and so many other great fencers here.
That's wonderful, Jack. Now, I've heard whispers that there's going to be a special kind of event that you're going to be hosting in Switzerland this year, your homeland. What is it going to be called and what's it about?
Well, we're hosting in Germany and Saarland actually a Rossfechten symposium. Rossfechten is mounted combat in the German tradition. But we're trying to unite the three fields of that are currently working on reconstructing historical mounted combat from the manuals. There's the riding side, the Baroque dressage, the jousting, and then the HEMA side. And we're trying to unite these fields in what they can bring to us. And it's going to be in July, last weekend of July 24th to 27th. It's going to be a really fascinating event. Everybody's invited. Even if you're not a rider, the idea is to create an event that is interesting for both riders and non-riders. So that if a non-rider comes who might be interested in learning to ride or getting into this, he'll leave with all the needed tools to continue. Or if you're just interested in seeing how this huge chunk of this tradition works, then you're welcome to come. We have all different types of time periods and weapons. We're going to have many workshops on saber, a presentation on Celtic cavalry traditions reconstructed from chronicles, and we've got the normal medieval fields.
That's very interesting. Where can our audience go to learn more about this event? Do you have a website set up, perhaps?
We've got a website set up, rossfechten-symposium.com, or find us on Facebook, or you can just message me on Facebook if you can't find anything else.
Thanks a lot, Jack. That's all for now. We'll go back to the arena.
Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Meg Floyd coming to you from Swordfish 2013 live here in Gothenburg, Sweden. With me this evening, I have Martin Kamphaus and Yuval Kuipers, the creators of the HEMA Tournament Manager, a wonderful program that has been used at several HEMA events over the years, including Fight Camp, the HEFAC event in the Netherlands, as well as Swordfish for several years running. First, I would like to ask you, Martin, what is the HEMA Tournament Manager and what does it do for the tournaments it serves?
At first it was meant to show the people under the fencing mask. So during a fight you can see pictures of who is fighting. But then we took it a step further. Like you can program the entire tournament structure. It arranges everything. You can select the format of the different tournaments, and basically you can keep track of scoring, enter the next round, whatever. It automates everything you need to know.
I know you two have been hard at work with the HEMA Tournament Manager this year. Yuval, could you tell me, is there anything new that you have been working on for the HEMA Tournament Manager this year for Swordfish?
Yeah, first of all, we worked on making it a lot more stable, because last year we were standing there, running around, making sure the ship wouldn't sink, and this year we make a stable platform, which is a lot more user-friendly and something on which you can build for future generations.
Martin, where do you see the HEMA Tournament Manager going into the future? Are there any plans to make it available for other events or to the wider community?
Definitely. We want to make it stable, user-friendly, and adaptable to all formats, so you don't have to fly us in every time, and you just can keep the system for your tournament, so at every event.
Yeah, I mean, the world of HEMA is growing immensely. We see a lot of events coming up, and we would like to be on top of that continuation and be able to provide stuff that will keep the HEMA community going on for years.
Making it more professional and taking a lot of stress out of the organizers. They have enough on their mind already. So.
Well, I would just like to say on the behalf of the HEMA community, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for helping us take it to the next level. Are there any parting words you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, let's go enjoy tonight.
Yeah, keep on rocking.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go back to the arena now. This is Meg again. We are here tonight with the infamous Scott Brown, one of the best-known tournament organizers internationally. If you look at all the flags he's collected on his arms from places he's taught and fought. Scott, you're here to talk to us tonight about the Franco-Belgian tournament that you and Matt Gallus developed. Can you tell us what the Franco-Belgian rule set is like and what makes it unique?
Sure. Just to clarify, though, Matt and I didn't develop it. History developed it. Matt recovered the rules back in 2006, and they sort of sat empty. Nobody at HEMA really doing much with them. Over time, we realized that this needed to be, we're trying to revive documented practices. This was probably the longest documented practice that we can really detail, and here we are in the modern age, we were ignoring it. So a quick overview of the rule sets are, they strike with the flat of the blade. It's a limited target area above the hemline, above the waist, and above the elbows. It's a rising target, so as each person becomes king, each new king takes the stand, he raises the level of the target. There are limited repertoire of techniques. No one-handed blows, no grappling, no kicking, no punching. You can't release the sword in any way for half swording or anything like that. So it's very clear that these rules are sort of designed to focus on sort of a medium-range fight with a lot of an emphasis on blade work and footwork, rather than just the sort of crashing and banging type of situation. Okay.
In the historical context of Franco-Belgian, how was the rule set employed? What did they use it for?
Well, most of these rules, if not all of them, are derived from the guild-based structure. And so these guilds had, amongst other things, a fairly routine weekly and or monthly and perhaps even more often practices of having small tournaments up to large tournaments. I mean, some of these were 60, 70 people on a weekly basis. So when you look at that level of frequency, it's very difficult to argue that it is not, and so it absolutely must be part of the training regimen. So as we often see with historical rule sets, our modern rule sets, we tend to favor this, real fight, let's get everything we can in there. But the more we learn about the historical rule sets, the more we recognize that largely, and the Franco-Belgian rules do this, they emphasize a limited repertoire with the underlying philosophy probably that they wanted to refine certain skill sets that perhaps don't show up under these sort of free-for-all type of formats. In other words, a way to get some of the younger men to focus on, the binding and winding skills, a more sophisticated understanding of strategies and that sort of thing.
Many people will recall the very famous Franco-Belgian final between Sam Street and Dustin Reagan at Festival America earlier this year. Probably 10 minutes of the most beautiful fencing I've seen in my life. What specific benefit or appeal do historical rule sets like Franco-Belgian offer to the modern tournament scene?
Well, largely, I think not only do they provide us an opportunity to introduce people to a little more of history and the context behind it, but I think in terms of modern fencers, it gives them, much like it did the historical fencers, a framework for which to refine their skills. And I think for a lot of modern folks, that framework seems counterintuitive, but that's just probably another example of how modern people look at the world through modern eyes, not necessarily through the historical eyes. So by spending time with these skill sets, I think you'll see an improvement over the people's abilities to play at the bind, to understand more sophisticated strategies, and that sort of thing. Okay.
So ultimately, Franco-Belgian is a great training tool. Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate your time.
Thanks,
and
Ray.
now back to the arena.
Sorry, we had some technical difficulties there, but we are now moving into the Franco-Belgian longsword event. These are the 4 finalists. This is a system of a rule set that is derived from the old Franco-Belgian guilds, fencing guilds. This is a rule set that can be documented over the course of about 300 years. So this is a King of the Hill format. Szabolcs Waldman is the king. Thomas Nizel is the challenger. Now, interesting rule set. It is not a level playing field, ladies and gentlemen. Szabolcs Waldman has the advantage. Any double hit counts for him. Any afterblow counts for him. Thomas Nizel, over on the left with the yellow socks, he has no afterblow. And any afterblow or double hit, and he is out. Again, the target area is from the waist up and from the elbows up. Fencers can only use the flat, striking with blows, no thrusts, no one-handed techniques, no grappling, no punching, no closing in close, no corps à corps. You see the puff of chalk from the blade. The blades are chalked. When you have a blow, there's a mark left. It looks like there's a mark. So there is a mark on the blow, chalk mark on the head of Thomas Nizel from the king. He's eliminated. Thomas Nizel is out. Szabolcs Waldman remains the king.
Next challenger is Hans Jørlund, who's fighting for first place in the open longsword later on this evening. Strike to the shoulder.
Blow to the shoulder from the king. Right. So, Hans Jørlund eliminated by Szabolcs Waldman, who remains the king, king of the hill.
short fights so far. Usually,
Very short.
Usually these fights end up with.
Well, it's a rising target, Scott, and what happens is if someone manages to dethrone the king, that is, to strike him a clean blow and not be hit with a double hit or an after blow, they become the king, and then the spot where they hit the opponent becomes the new level of the target. So the target rises, and it becomes a much more interesting game as the target changes over the course of the tournament. But at this point, Szabolcs is fighting against Anders Lennard. Looks like we have a blow by Anders Lennard upon the king. So,
Lennard,
interesting.
the new king.
Anders Lennard is the new king. Now the target will change, and it should change to the level of the shoulder.
But note, however, there are only 2 fighters left in the tournament, both only having one life left.
So the blow by Lennard on Waldmann was on the shoulder, so we should have a rising target.
Lennard of Sweden, senior instructor for Gothenburg Historical Fencing School, the new king. Strikes. Strike
Like
to the
a
head
blow
by
to the
Lennard!
head by Lennard. We'll see if it left a mark. Looks like
No.
there is a blow upon the head, clear blow on the top of the head of Anders Lennard, the king. Szabolcs Waldmann regains his kingship with a blow to the head of Anders Lennard. Waldmann is the victor.
So just a quick now, this year, the first time the Western Belt is currently here for division. And as we do nomination, one thing we like to do in the past is keep track of how many times people became king and who made the most stands as king, remained king the longest. So, actually, what was the total? So, it's a couple of special mentions. One, that Waldmann Szabolcs was king for 14 times, which is, yeah. And he's not here in the arena because of the way it worked out, but Sundar Laszlo also remained king for 11 times, which is quite impressive. And Anders is third with 8, I think, total. So 8 total, which is very difficult to do in this crowd of invitees in the tournament. So give them a round of applause, please.
So, the end of that historically based Franco-Belgian rule set with Szabolcs Waldmann of Hungary, Ars Ensis, the victor and the king.
Okay.
Joining me here is our Franco-Belgian champion, who I understand has come all the way from Hungary. Please tell me, sir, how are you enjoying Swordfish this weekend?
I think swordfish is the best martial arts event in Europe.
That's wonderful. What did you think of competing in the Franco-Belgian tourney?
It was the most fun I've ever had in any tournament, so it was very good. Thank you.
What is your opinion of the rule set?
I really do like this rule set because this is very historically accurate, and all the chalking and the black coating, and even the black clothing of HEMA as such comes from this rule set. So I really do I feel it's an honor to be here and compete in this.
Thank you so much for your time. Anything else you would like to add for our audience this evening?
This!
Thank you very much. That's all for now. We're going back to the arena.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so
Next up, we have our ladies' longsword.
No, stop and behold. We have our middleweight wrestling finals first.
That's right, because interspersed between all our weapon sets, we have our wrestling. So it will be the
middleweight for the middleweight championship, where Magnus Lundborg of Uppsala Historiska Fäktskola will face off against Ingolf Kollweis. Did I pronounce that right, Matt? Ingolf Kollweis from
Kollweis of Austria.
From Indes Salzburg of Austria. Now, I know offhand that Ingolf, he hurt his shoulder last night during the wrestling, so we'll see how that affects his performance tonight. He did a fantastic job in the open longsword this year, ranking number 3 in the overall pools after Jon Hodkiewicz and Simon Shublowski, who came in before him. Both Jon Hodkiewicz and Simon were knocked out in the eliminations of the open longsword.
And again, this is a very exciting trend that we're seeing, is these very skilled fencers entering the wrestling ring as well, to prove that they are comprehensive fighters, both one-handed, two-handed, double weapons, and also with wrestling. So while we wait, just a few comments upon that Franco-Belgian system. Those rules derive from the old fencing guilds that were in France and Belgium. It's a rule set that can be traced over the course of about 3 centuries. And interestingly enough, they lasted up until the French Revolution, when it was the French revolutionaries who disbanded the guilds that put a death to the system. Our wrestlers enter Kollweis
and Magnus Lundborg.
In the red corner, from Uppsala Historiska Fäktskolan, Sweden, Magnus Lundborg. In the blue corner, from Indes, Salzburg, Austria, Ingolf Kollweis.
Kollweis throwing a kiss. Here we go. Round 1. Ingolf in blue, Magnus in red. Filling each other out in the clinch. Ingolf going for a sweep. Testing Lundborg, going for the single. Lundborg going for the neck. And this is pretty even. This, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is exhausting when you wrestle. Demands an incredible amount of energy. Ingolf for the double. Slam by Ingolf. 3 points.
3 points for Ingolf. The 3 points is for an exceptionally well executed technical move, lifting his opponent completely off the ground. Excellent move by Ingolf Kohlweis. In medieval times, in Germany, wrestling was called Ringen, and wrestling was considered to be an integral part of the historical European martial arts and of every knight's education. As much as swordsmanship, as much as horsemanship, wrestling was considered fundamental.
Ingolf with a choke. They go down. Point,
and a
point for Ingolf.
Down and a pin by Ingolf Kohlweis. Fantastic wrestling by Ingolf of Salzburg, Austria. So our round is complete.
Ingolf, the new middleweight champion of the middleweight division at Swordfish 2013.
Well earned, I might add.
Wow, that was a great wrestling. It was dead even. They had each other at dead weight, and Ingolf pulled off two beautiful techniques, a lift and a slam. He went for a double legger, lifted up Lundborg, slammed him to the ground, earning him 3 points for a beautifully executed technique.
Beautiful technical wrestling by Ingolf Kohlweis of Salzburg, Austria.
Wow. And
now we can only look forward to our heavyweight wrestling. Certainly we know that Gregor Medjevic, another fantastic wrestler, and it'll be interesting to see. And Stefan Sannemalm, also a very experienced wrestler himself. Ninja, affectionately known in HEMA as Ninja
Stefan
Boy
the Ninja.
Because of his background in ninjutsu and a recent convert to HEMA.
Thank you very much.
Standing with me here is the champion of the middleweight ringen competition for Swordfish 2013, none other than Austrian Ingolf Kohlweis. Ingolf, how does it feel to be here tonight?
It feels great. I am actually a little bit out of breath because it was really exhausting to fight with Magnus. He had a really good stance and I was really fighting to get him. Yeah.
We saw a couple of beautiful takedowns from you. What do you think you have to train the most to develop such skill in ringen?
Yeah, you have to train medieval wrestling for sure to get these skills. No, you need an overall body fitness. You need a good throwing techniques, but you also need to know how to fall.
And it essentially looked like you fell down gracefully and landed with him just the right way. That was really beautiful to watch. Anything else you would like to add for our audience tonight?
Greetings to you all. Have fun watching the Swordfish.
Thanks a lot, Ingolf. And with that, we're going back to the arena.
So next up, over to ladies longsword.
And the drum roll, and the fighters enter the ring. Barbara Klebowska, Festschule Gdansk, Poland, fighting Marta Sophie Geyer of GHFS Sweden, last year's ladies longsword champion, beating Jessica Finley in a hard-fought bout.
In the red corner, from Festschule Gdansk, in Poland, Barbara Klebowski. In the blue corner, Marta Sophie Geyer from Omaha, HEMA, Sweden.
Here we go, Barbara Szyblowski. Sorry,
Barbara Kablowska is the producer of sparring gloves, which are very well known throughout the HEMA community, a very high quality product. Fighter herself, again, this tradition of fighters producing HEMA gear for other fighters.
And Barbara Szyblowska, sorry for saying her name wrong earlier. She's had a good tournament year. She came in second in Skunks tournament in Poland this year, facing off against last year's champion Märta Sofie Geyer of Örebro HEMA. Her coach in the corner, Carl Ryberg. Märta.
And the coach in Barbara's corner is Jan Hodkiewicz, the actual swordsmith who made the swords that they're using, and the owner and manager of Ensifer Swords.
Märta Sofie, one of my favorite fighters in the
very
ladies
aggressive
longsword.
despite her small
She's a
size.
human pit bull, Matt.
You can see right from the start, Märta Sofie closes in. It looked like there might have been a schnitt on the head. Looks like a blow to the head for Märta Sofie Geyer. 3 points. 2 points.
After blow on blue. Value. 2 points red, 1 point blue.
So Märta Sofie Geyer with a
she
slight
charges
lead.
in.
Very aggressive. Very
Pushes
aggressive.
Barbara.
Looked like a thrust by Märta Sofie. We'll see what the judges say.
Score for red, value. 2 points red.
2 points awarded for ref to Barbara Szyblowski. The referee, Scott Brown, warning Geyer,
Looked like a
who strikes to the head of Szyblowska. Szyblowska answers, and the judges cannot agree on what happened. Geyer warned earlier by Scott
Look at
Brown
the way
for
that
aggressive
Geyer just runs
behavior.
across the ring.
She
Very
is
aggressive.
a pit bull.
Like a
Oh,
thrust.
thrust and a schnitt, perhaps.
But the judges rule it as a
Double hit. Szyblowska in the lead.
Oh, a thrust missed by Märta Sofie. Then I guess looks like it was a thrust followed by a schnitt to the body by Märta Sofie Geyer.
Oh, straight to the leg by Szyblowska. Märta Sofie answers, but not in time, not in the tempo that is required for an afterblow.
Oh! So
Charging in,
charges
strike
in.
right to the head.
Oh,
Wow.
straight in the Zufechten. Three points for
Strike
Märta
to the
Sofie
head,
Geyer.
putting Märta Sofie in the lead. Time was called.
Hyper aggressive, Märta Sofie Geyer.
Wow, that last exchange was fantastic. She just charged in and rammed her Oberhauer right into the head of Szyblowska, earning her 3 points. Wow.
It's interesting because you often see people charge across the ring like that in the last minutes or the last seconds of a bout, but often it results in a double hit. And to
Yeah.
see her go across the ring and land a blow so cleanly.
What she does, and what she does is you see her charge in, but then as she comes into distance, she slows down. So basically, what she's doing is she's taking control of the ring. She's
taking control of the psyche as well of
the
her
opponent,
opponent,
taking the center of the
dominating
ring.
her and intimidating her into passivity, and that it really essentially seems what happened.
Henceforth, the new nickname, the Pitbull. Okay, let's see what Shablowska comes up with in this second round to counter the aggressiveness of Mata Safi.
Oh, looks like an ow from the right by Barbara Klebowska.
Mata Safi only placing the back of a blade to the back.
Right.
With no motion in that thrust, it wouldn't give her a schnit, so no point for Mata Safi. Binden! Pressing the blade to the forehead of Shablowska.
Barbara,
there's a schnit to the head.
Barbara Klebowska is a very calm fighter.
Yeah.
Makes an interesting counterpoint to the aggression of Marta Safi Geyer. Very close fight. The bind and a straight to the head.
Strike to the foot by Shablowska. Did the judges see that? Yes. Shablowska under by 4 points, but still very capable of winning this fight. Exchange. Strike to the head by Mata Safi Geyer, up at 17 points. Shablowska will have to up the pace.
And
clinch! About to enter the wrestling.
Disarm.
Disarmed
by Marta Safi Geyer.
Disarming doesn't score you any points unless you follow up with a cutting, striking or thrusting techniques or dominance by wrestling. 3 points to the head, 2 points awarded to the torso and the legs, and 1 point for the arms below the elbow. Looks like a double hit, slice across the throat of Shablowska.
One thing that's very interesting here is Marta Safi Geyer is throwing in a schnit in almost every encounter, which is something you rarely see.
One other fighter that does that is last year's champion, Dennis Ljungqvist. He always follows up with a schnit. Unfortunately injured and unable to compete this year.
1 point red, 2 points blue.
Commanding lead now
with
by
half
Marta
a minute left. Mata Safi Geyer in the lead. They wrestle, clinch, pommel strike to the face. Scuffles. We'll see what the judges say on that one.
10 seconds left in the fight.
10 seconds.
We'll see some aggression here, I believe.
Mata Safi in the lead, but she's still the one charging in.
She only has one speed, and that's full blast.
Wow, what a beautiful fight.
22 to 15.
The winner is Sweden, Mata Safi Geyer of Örebro Hema, and also Gothenburg Historical Fencing School, training in both schools. That young lady has a bright future in the longsword division. Against a very mighty Shablowska. Wow. And that wasn't even the finals.
So now we move on to our finals. Elisa Keskinen of Finland will face Claudia Krause of School of the Sword from the UK. Although Claudia is living in the UK and is part of the School of the Sword, she's actually German. That was quite an exciting bout. Very fascinating mix of the hyper-aggressive Marta Safi Geyer charging across.
She charges for the throat, and she's after the kill.
And the thing that's great about her is she gets in close and she never stops attacking. Schnitt,
Constant
pommel
pressure.
strike,
Constant pressure.
disarm, wrestling. She does it all.
She will use every weapon in her arsenal and constant pressure. But it wasn't enough to take her to the finals.
So now for first place, fighting for first place, Elisa Keskinen of Espoo, Finland in red against Claudia Krause of the UK in blue. School of the Sword.
In the red corner, Elisa Keskinen from Espoo Historiallisen Viikilänseura, Finland. In the blue corner, Claudia Krause from the School of the Sword, United Kingdom.
So the fencers approach, embrace.
In the corner of Elisa Keskinen is
Matthias Parmala,
who is fighting for third place in the open longsword.
Yeah, a very, very good fencer himself. He's really proven himself during this competition. Closing in.
Elisa in the flug, Claudia in the Fomtag. Strike to the head by Krause.
And an afterblow.
Claudia Krause in blue from the UK. Keskinen in red.
Oh. Elisa normally fighting from left flug. Claudia from right Fomtag. Looks like we had a blow from the head. Or it was a blow to the arm by Elisa Keskinen of Finland.
Schrankhut by Keskinen.
We'll see if, aha, closing in, the bind, nothing accomplished.
Looks like the
Looks
glove.
like there's a gear issue.
Misplacement of the glove. That was a nice Krumpfau from the Schrank by Keskinen.
But no score.
No score. She didn't win the bind.
Nice to see historical attempt accomplished, or attempted even if not successfully executed. Parry.
Oh, strike.
It's like a parry and a cut around with an
Parry
Abnehmen,
bind.
striking with a left overhow to the head of Krause.
Wow. Nice. That brings Keskinen up to 6 points, so
now
we're at
we're
a
tied.
draw. We're at a draw at 6 points each for both fighters. Krause is shifting her Fomtag to the left shoulder. Strike
Cut and parry. And Elisa Keskinen moves into the lead. The 3-point lead over Claudia Krause of the UK. Cut, bind, nothing accomplished.
Time is
and
called for a break.
Time is called.
This has pretty much been a flug versus Fomtag guard. Keskinen preferring the flug.
Krause preferring Vomtag normally from the right shoulder. Claudia Krause shifting to the left shoulder, and Elisa Keskinen immediately shifting to Flug on the other side. They both have their habits. Typically, both striking right Oberhau, ending up in a bind. Elisa Keskinen getting a beautiful cut to the head, cutting around from the bind, left Oberhau to the head of Claudia Krause, ending up with a 3-point lead. And we'll see if she maintains that.
And remember, in the beginning of the first round, Claudia Krause came out with a strong lead. Now Keskinen moving past in the first round up to 9 points to 6. Anything can happen in round 2.
Right, especially because of this weighted scoring. All it takes is a blow to the head by Claudia Krause, and we can see a tied score once again. Same pattern as before.
Strike from
Flug
above
versus vom Tag.
Oh!
Looks like we had a blow to the hand by Elisa Keskinen. Yes, blow to the hand by Elisa Keskinen. 10-6.
So,
cut, bind.
Bind with the arms,
and
push out of the mat.
Out of the ring.
And was that an off the blow for Krause?
It looked to me like that was parried by Keskinen.
Yeah. So basically Keskinen is...
Yes. So Keskinen pushes Krause out of the ring, gaining a point.
Keskinen waiting in the Flug for Claudia to throw her Oberhaus, parrying and then countering. As we saw there, but maybe
Schnitt
or maybe with the flat. We'll see how they judge that. They judge it as a Schnitt.
Yes, a Schnitt to the arm after the bind.
Point for Red. So look now, she comes out in the Flug, she'll wait for the Oberhau, parries, strike to the midsection, and scores. 1 point for Red. Very nice. Keskinen in 12. She has figured out Claudia Krause's game, and Claudia is not changing her patterns. She needs to mix it up. She needs to change guards. She needs to do something else if she's to turn this around in the last minute and a half. Parry, strike, parried by... Oh!
It looked
thrust
like
to the face. Was it a double? Thrust to the face by Keskinen.
I'm not sure which it was. But it was definitely a blow to the head. 3 points, an additional 3 points for Elisa Keskinen of Finland.
Back into Schrank. She's testing that Schrank there. Second time she pulled that, but she's not, when she throws the crump, she's not winning the bind. She's not putting enough force and leverage into that. She's just placing her sword on Claudia's sword. Strike.
Tempted thrust by
Oberhau
Claudia.
to Oberhau. Strike to the hands by Claudia. Keith Farrell calls point.
The other judges do not agree. Again, our pattern of vom Tag versus...
Oh, straight to the hands by Keskinen. Was it enough? Oh, yes.
Another point.
And that's punishing Claudia for coming out with her hands. Claudia's hands are far out from her body. She's not tucking her hands into the body.
Oh, another blow to the hand.
And she's exposing. And Claudia's exposing her hands.
20-7, what now appears an insurmountable lead.
Yes. And
Elisa
Keskinen, the champion of Finland! With 20-7, undisputed champion. And more perfectly.
And the crowd goes wild.
And more perfectly, to make it to the finals, she had to go through Märta Sofie. She had to beat last year's champion, and she did so, dethroning last year's champion and taking the championship for 2013 in a beautiful display of swordsmanship.
It was interesting.
Wow.
Early on in that fight, it looked like Claudia Krause was going to take the lead, but Elisa came back. She figured out her game. She closed up her defense. She got into the bind and figured out a way of either cutting around or dropping a Schnitt onto that arm. And certainly we've noticed that Claudia Krause seemed to have a weak point with that left arm.
Can we switch places? I'm getting the camera in.
Okay. You guys stand right there. Standing here with me is Elisa Keskinen, the champion of Swordfish 2013 women's longsword, and her trainer and boyfriend, Matthias Parmala. Elisa, how does it feel to win the women's?
This is the coolest moment of my life, obviously.
You've been having a great year. As I recall, you won silver at Long Point this year also, right?
Yeah, but Swordfish was much more harder to do. I managed to win all my pool fights and eliminators, of course, but it was hard still.
You must be very happy. Do you have any words of wisdom to all of the other women sword fighters out there?
Come and fight, at least. This is fun, and yeah, this is great.
Now, Matthias, as I understand it, you're Elisa's trainer, correct?
Indeed.
How has it been for you to watch her grow and succeed so well in the tournaments?
I am extremely proud of her. I've been training her for about 3 years now, and she has improved incredibly much in that time. Just comparing her results to last year's Swordfish, she has improved so quick. I'm very proud of how she has done today.
Well, thank you very much, guys. You've done Team Finland very proud. Thank you. And that's all, and we're back to the arena.
Next up, Heavyweight Championships of Wrestling, Staffan Sannemalm versus Gregor Medvesic.
Staffan Ninja Boy Sannemalm, last year's heavyweight champion, and Gregor Medvesic.
What is Medvesic, last year's middleweight champion, moves up to heavyweight to challenge last year's heavyweight champion Staffan Sannemalm, who defends his title. Matt, what happens when two irresistible forces meet?
It makes for a great wrestling match. And they're both very experienced fencers as well.
Champion versus champion, here we go. Medvesic, a Greco-Roman background. Staffan Sannemalm, history in... Oh, he's gone for the choke.
Yeah, Staffan Sannemalm with a very strong background in ninjutsu and
Medvesic
judo.
for the single leg. Staffan rolls him over. I think it earned him a point. It's like a human bull. True warrior, Staffan Sannemalm. Ten seconds announced. Sannemalm trying to pull Medvesic down on flatten him out on the stomach. Last year we saw Staffan Sannemalm having problems with his cardio. He was exhausted at the end of the first round. That might come to factor later on. Because these bouts are exhausting. Round two.
Sannemalm seems tireless, whether he's fencing in longsword or whether he's wrestling.
Oh! Sannemalm tries to sweep Medvesic. He loses it, falls. 2 points to Gregor Medvesic. Back in the trenches. Champion versus champion. The Swede versus the Slovenian. Clinch position, Medvesic goes for the single. Filling each other out. Sannemalm is showing no problems with his cardio.
Sanamom, calm, unfazed.
Yes, 23 years in judo and 13 years in ninjutsu. Third round, we're going into a third round. It's a tie. So basically, it's a sudden death round. One point for Gregor. Sanamalm comes down on Medevich. Oh! Well, medic. So we can't see what happened, but maybe the arm is broken of Medevich. Matt and I can't see it from this angle. Maybe it's a dislocation. So it's a roll, and Medevich come down. So. So it looks like we have a So it looks like it's a clean break. Medevich has he's broken his arm clean off. Sanamalm, there was, if I remember correctly, a clinch. Sanamalm went for a hook. They rolled. Sanamalm landed on Medevich, breaking his arm. Very unfortunate. I've not seen that happen. Somebody breaking an arm on a fall.
Sanamalm
not clean off. The
staying
ninja
by
boy,
his opponent, holding his hand, giving him moral support.
True sportsmanship and the true heart of a warrior. Staffan Sanamalm is a gentleman and a warrior. So we're waiting for our medics to help Medevich go to the hospital. It's nothing severe. He's broken an arm, and he'll be carried out.
But we heard from the referee. There is no concept of this being a foul of any sort. It was a technical move carried out by Stefan Sanamalm. Flipped him over, landed on his opponent. An unfortunate accident. I think the result will probably be.
It will go down as a technical knockout. The champion remains. There won't be any cheers for this one. Staffan remains the champion.
But a good display of sportsmanship by Stefan Sanamalm, kneeling by his injured opponent, holding his hand, embracing him to show his moral support.
I've never seen this happen, that somebody's broken their arm clean off by a fall, by landing on the arm.
A clean break.
Yeah, I'd love to see that in a replay and see what actually happened. But it looked like Staffan went for a hook, a heel hook. They rolled, they landed Staffan on top. That's 106 kilos, I might add. 106 heavy kilos, breaking the arm of Medevich. He's being carried out now.
On a stretcher.
On a stretcher. Full honors, and he's putting his thumbs up.
The crowd breaking out in applause, standing up to show their respect for the brave wrestler.
Gregor Medvesic, ladies and gentlemen, from Slovenia. The champion, Staffan Sannemalm.
Staffan Sannemalm, this year's winner, the heavyweight wrestler.
The heavyweight champion.
By technical knockout.
The Ninja, Staffan Sannemalm.
Unfortunate that it happened by way of an accident, but an accident it was, and certainly no foul.
From Örebro Hema. I might add that Staffan Sannemalm, he also came in on the Sword and Buckler tournament at Swordfish for 2011, losing to Christine Konsmo. She was in the longsword tournament this year, the ladies' longsword. I think she was knocked out in the pools after 4 fights.
So, on to the open longsword. For third place, we have Matthias Parmala of Finland fighting Marcus Pettersson of Kungshaven's Historical Fäktskola from Sweden. So Matthias Parmala, interesting note. Matthias Parmala is the boyfriend of Elisa Keskinen, who just won first place for the ladies' longsword. So boyfriend, girlfriend team. She earned her medal. We'll see if he earns his. Matthias Parmala has done a fantastic job over the past couple of days fencing. Earlier today, pulled off a signal victory against Jan Hodkiewicz, an extremely tough opponent. Quite a surprise, I might add, for those watching the fight. Jan is one of the toughest opponents out there, but Matthias is really showing himself as an excellent swordsman.
Now, it appears that our doctor on site has followed Medvesic to the hospital, so we're waiting for a new doctor to arrive. We cannot continue until the next doctor arrives. Fortunately, one of the contestants is a doctor, which is Claudia Kraus. And so we're trying to get her, and we'll have some interviews before the open longsword finals, starting off with Parmala versus Pettersson. Marcus Pettersson is a protege of Dennis Ljungqvist, last year's winner of the open longsword.
Yeah. Do you have sound?
We are here now with Petter Brodin from Norway of the Free Duelers Club. He is part of the Nordic Historical Fencing League, the NHFL. Could you tell us a little bit about the NHFL and when it formed and why?
Yeah, absolutely. The NHFL is a cooperation between 4 of the up-and-coming tournaments in the Nordic region. There's the Bergen Open, there's Copenhagen Open, Helsinki Open, and Örebro Open. I've used this phrase a lot of times now. It's a lightweight framework, so we're not tournament organizers or anything like that. The group consists of the tournament organizers, but the NHFL in itself is simply a framework to rank fighters across all 4 tournaments that we're arranging. We're starting out now with just longswords, since that's the only weapon we're able to provide in all the fall tournaments, but we're hoping to branch out from there.
Now let's discuss this ranking process a little bit. Is the idea behind the ranking process that there will be a top fighter or 3 top fighters ranked at the end of the season, and which tournament will that prize ceremony be held at?
Yeah, we're ranking basically your placement in the league. So the leagues are free to use their own rule sets. We don't have to use like similar or identical rule sets.
It appears that
so you get a certain amount of
Krause,
points for winning, placing second, third, fourth, and so on.
Victor, the ladies longsword,
final
is also a doctor.
Hopefully it'll be a final.
At
least like the final event will be Bergen Open in August, where we'll have, of course, a prize ceremony for the tournament itself, but also a prize ceremony for whoever ends up winning the league, and the top 3 people probably.
This is very exciting. As far as I know, nothing like this has ever been done before in HEMA. What role do you see this playing in the development of the HEMA community in the future?
Well, hopefully, first of all, hopefully it'll be a success for us, for our 4 clubs, for the fighters there. We deliberately placed the end in August so that people can be ready for Swordfish. Swordfish has been nice enough to give the winner of the league free entrance into Swordfish, so he can prove himself or herself there. It'll grow our clubs, it'll grow our tournaments. Hopefully, that's the plan at least. And if it catches on outside of the Nordics, or in like if you're doing American League or a Central European League or something like that, that would be cool as well, of course.
Now it's the Nordic Historical Fencing League, or is it only for people in Nordic clubs, or can anyone join?
Well, anyone can join. The Nordic stands for where it's held, not who we are letting into the league, obviously. All the tournaments are open, so simply by participating in one of the tournaments in the league, you are automatically ranked in the league. If anyone from outside the Nordics want to participate, all we can say to them is, you're welcome, good luck, and we're ready for you.
Ha ha ha. Very nice. Thank you, Petter. Now back to the arena.
Third place of the open longsword, Matias Parmala of Finland will face off against Marcus Pettersson of Kungshamn, Sweden. Parmala in red, Pettersson in blue.
And so, fighting for 3rd and 4th place in the open longsword competition, in the red corner, from Espoo Historias and Mika and Seula, Finland, Matias Parmala. And in the blue corner, out of Kungshamns Historiska Krigsskola, Sweden, Marcus Pettersson.
So, in Matias Parmala's corner, Christian Rukonen acting as coach. In the other corner, Dennis Ljungqvist, an experienced coach and competitor himself, acting as coach.
Last year's champion, he was not dethroned, but he was injured. Now, Parmala, I love this about Parmala. I spoke to him about half a year ago, and he told me about a problem he has. He's always made it through the pools, but always was knocked out in his first elimination fight as a pool. It was like a psychological threshold. He broke that pool at Longsword, Long Point in America, and we've just seen some spectacular fighting come out of Parmala today.
Parmala impressed a lot of people in the United States when he competed. I think he made a name for himself there, and he certainly has over the last couple of days here at Swordfish. Both fencers feeling each other out. Pettersson seems to like to go into Alber and Vexel. A lot of offline motion from Pettersson. Parmala and Flug. A gear issue apparently
Now
on Parmala.
Parmala, to make it to this fight, Parmala had to go through the top-ranked fighter in the tournament, which was Hodkiewicz.
Knocked Hodkiewicz out to continue to this fight. Oh, it looks like a blow to the right arm of Pettersson.
by Parmala.
1 point for Parmala. Left Oberhau to the wrist.
Parmala in red, Pettersson in blue.
Pettersson very mobile.
Parmala changing guards. He's never staying too long in the same guard. Pettersson choosing a low guard. Feeling each other out in the distance. They're trying each other's footwork.
Oh, it looks like another blow.
Initiated by Pettersson, but Parmala strikes to the arm of Pettersson. Pettersson gets the after blow.
1 point for each fencer. Both fencers being... It's a cautious fight.
Oh. Parry on the Schwarz. Was that Pettersson's point?
Looks like it was an Unterhau that landed by Pettersson.
Yeah.
But a double hit, adjudged by the judges.
Parmala striking Pettersson with the Schwarz.
It looks like a cut through the parry by Pettersson to the head. The judges do not agree. Nothing done.
Head on. Scramble. Clear score for blue. 2 points.
Pettersson takes a slight lead.
Putting Pettersson in the lead for 3-2 against Parmala in red. Pettersson moving between. Pettersson moving between.
Double hit.
Pettersson moving between Alber and Flug. And if you notice the Flug of Parmala, he has a horizontal cross. He's holding the cross horizontally.
So Pettersson seems to have changed his approach, becoming much more aggressive. Very mobile fighter, a lot of offline motion, prefers to fight from low guards, has apparently found his comfort zone and some confidence, now beginning to take the attack to Matthias Parmala, and has taken a slight lead in doing so.
And both these guys are being very well coached right now, so they will have clear tactics. So Christian Raukonen, he's made it a part of his niche, is coaching, and Ljungqvist, very seasoned tournament fighter and senior instructor. So two good, very good coaches in each corner. Oh, here we go. Rush to the center to take the center of the ring. Oh, strike followed by a one-hand thrust.
Looks like an arm blow. 1 point for Pettersson.
Parmala in the thumb tackle. Oh. Strike slow! Did he parry in time? Did that go through the guard of Parmala? They deem it an after blow. Parmala striking low to Pettersson. Pettersson striking to the head of Parmala. Parmala didn't have time to reach into full guard. Tried to parry, but
didn't quite make it.
But Pettersson slipped through, striking to the head. It's difficult when you go low. That's the thing when you go low.
Oh, nice blow to the arm by
Parmala.
Nice.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss again.
Oh,
strike
looks like a blow to the arm by Pettersson. After blow parried by Pettersson.
That was a nice exchange.
Nice exchange by Marcus Pettersson. Pettersson moving into a commanding lead.
Pettersson in the lead.
Parmala needs to do something and do it quick. A bind.
Strike and a parry with a bind.
Nothing accomplished.
Feint and a strike. Double Oberhaus. Awkward position.
It's like an Unterhau by
with a
Parmala.
Schnitt. Unterhau followed up by Schnitt as he pulled out with the Abzug.
It's like an Unterhau from the right by Parmala, stepping
Very
through.
nice. Abzug with a Schnitt. Really nice.
Oh, looks a bind and a blow.
2 points for blue. Pedersen in the lead, 11-6. Parmala rushing in, throwing at the Schwarz. And it proved worth the risk. You see
Parmala is fighting against time at this point.
Yeah.
Probably an
will rush in now
insurmountable
and just
lead
go
at
for
this
the head.
point.
It's his only choice. Bind. Oh, half sorting by Parmala. Beautiful. Time has been called.
Valiant effort by Matthias Parmala, but too little, too late.
The winner, Marcus Pedersen of Kungshamns Historiska Fäktskola, Sweden. A big win for Marcus Pedersen. He's a very young guy. He's a hungry young guy. He has a long career ahead of him. I think we'll see more of him in the future. I think this was a big lift for him. This is a big win for Marcus Pedersen.
He overcame a very, very skilled opponent.
Yeah. Now, Parmala as well, I think he's on the doorstep to great things. I saw some technical display this tournament that was fantastic from Parmala. Next up, the grand finale, the fight of fights. We move on to longsword open finals.
Grzegorz Brzezinski. Now remember, he fought in saber.
Will face
and
off.
Pulled it off. First place, saber. Now fighting first place for longsword. Can he get 2 first places in a row? The Poles will be ecstatic if he does.
If he wants to do that, he's going to have to go through Hans Jörlind of Gamla Stans Fäktskola, Sweden. Brzezinski in red, Jörlind in blue.
Local favorite.
Hans Jörlind of Sweden, winner of the... Jörlind, a former longsword fighter actually, who turned into a rapier fighter. He put his focus towards rapier. You'll most likely know him in tournament circles as a very good judge, but also as a very prominent rapier fighter, winning first place in the World Open Championship 2010, that's Colin Richards' event. Second place in Swordfish Rapier 2011 and third place in the Swordfish Rapier 2010, among loads of other victories throughout the years.
Now
he has
returning
returned
to
longsword, and he has done a spectacular job from an underdog position to a rising champion. Hans Jörlind, will he beat Grzegorz Brzezinski? Brzezinski in red, Jörlind in blue, fighting each other out.
Oh, looks like a Sverk.
Bow, wow!
From Jörlind.
Heavy hitting here at the finals at the Open Longsword.
The afterblow.
Time has been called. So there's a double warning to each fighter. So continuing
And
fighting
the
after
judges do not agree on the outcome.
for continuing fighting after break had been called. Now. Most likely Hans will wait for the attack of Brzezinski, parry and then strike.
Brzezinski is a very
Counter.
aggressive fighter.
Oh, wow!
Beautiful.
Wow!
Left overhow.
Wow!
Sidestep. Beautiful left overhow.
Sidestep. Sidestep and schwerst to the temple of Brzezinski, earning Hans Jarlin the first score of the evening. 3 points to 0 for Sweden. Hans Jarlin, wow.
Beautiful move by Hans Jarlin. Way to counter the aggression. Brzezinski. Sidestep. Strike to the side of the head. Brzezinski taking a more measured approach.
He's trying to make Hans react, but Hans is not letting. Strike!
Oh, it looks like
a
Jarlin
double.
pulled the same thing off without the sidestep,
Same
but it's
technique.
counted as a double hit.
It's double. Brzezinski got the arms of Jarlin, but Jarlin did the same stretch, the exact same technique as we saw in the last
Beautiful
exchange.
stretch.
Oh wow! Double again. Jarlin for the midsection. Brzezinski to the head or shoulder. Jarlin in 4-1. Brzezinski in red. Jarlin in blue. Feeling each other out. Feeling the tempo, the momentum. Smow! Hans Jarlin sends equipment flying across the room. Looks like a double. Called as a double. Hans Jarlin has he has got perfect body mechanics. His movement is so flawless, and the result of that, when you have flawless movement, shaved movement, you strike hard.
There's a great deal of power generation there, and we see that from that piece of equipment sheared off of his opponent, flying across the room.
Again, Brzezinski trying to make Hans react.
Offline movement by Jarlin.
Tapering the sword of Jarlin, trying to make him react. Time called.
Did that
and
come
they
after
ended
the
with
time?
It came after, and it was a double anyway. Time has been called. Hans Jarlin 4-1 at midpoint. Now, Hans Jarlin is a very loved figure in Sweden. He is true old school HEMA. He was one of the guys around from the very beginning. One of the first, one of the founders of Swedish HEMA. And sort of a mentor figure for Swedish HEMA fighters today. Will Brzezinski turn this around in the second round?
Brzezinski needs to change his game.
He needs to change his game. On the other hand, he's one strike away to the head of Jarlin to equalizing this.
It's true. With this weighted scoring system, all Brzezinski needs is a good blow to the head to turn this around.
Anything can happen.
And as we've seen, Brzezinski managed to do that in the Sabre final, pulling it out at the last minute by 1 point to sneak ahead of his opponent. We'll see if he manages to do the same thing. Brzezinski looking calm in his corner.
What Brzezinski has going for him, he's got tons of experience, but he's no ring rust. He's just constantly busy in the ring. Strike! Strike to the head by Brzezinski, it looks like. Countered with by Jarlin. Is it a double or an after blow? Strike, called as a double. Oh, it looks like a clean hit. Parry and clean hit by Jarlin.
Looks like a
clean hit to the head by Jurlin.
And
Wow.
a pairing of the afterblow.
Again, stepping offline, Hans Jurlin got a clean hit. 7-1 for Jurlin. Strike! Parry! Strike! Parry! Judges escaping. Arnaut Stallenberg had to get out of there. The crowd going crazy for Hans Jurlin. Brzezinski, the Polish champion in red. Will he persevere here with 2 minutes left at Swordfish Open Championships 2013, sorry. Powered to you by GHFS. Back they go. Into the deep end of the round.
Looked like that may have been a blow to the arm by Brzezinski, but a double hit.
Making that the fourth double hit of this fight. Brzezinski rushing in, fighting for time.
Blow by Jurlin, after blow by Brzezinski.
Looking at the scoreboard now, I can see that Scott Brown, he pulled 1 point from each fighter. Brzezinski down to 0. Hasse was down to 8. Now, there's a difference between rushing in and applying pressure. Brzezinski is rushing in, but he's not doing it effectively. He needs to apply pressure. Running in like that won't help him.
But Brzezinski clearly running out of options at this point. Running out of time.
So! Strike to the hands by Jurlin, off the blow by Brzezinski. 1 point each. 3-10 for Hans Jurlin. 10 seconds left. It is a clear. Time! And we have a new champion, Hans Jurlin of Sweden. Gamla Stans Fäktskola. Wow! Hans Jurlin. He likes to take the role of the underdog. He likes to undermine himself in the pools. That's what triggers him. That's what makes him win. Hans Jurlin carries the crown, the champion.
Some beautiful offline motion by Hans Jurlin, sidestepping, getting some really lovely attacks from the side as he sidesteps the Polish bull charging him.
Wow. In his corner, Axel Peterson, former student of Jurlin. It was Jurlin. Hans Jurlin. Axel Peterson is the protege of Hans Jurlin. He studied under Hans Jurlin for many years, until he moved to Göteborgs Historiska Fäktskola and studied under Anders Linnard. So, Hans Jurlin.
I'm ready. I won't say anything smart, so.
And here I am standing with the champion of the Swordfish 2013 Open Longsword Championship, Hans Jurlin. Hans, how does it feel?
Well, I'm really tired, of course. Sweaty and beat up by the Polish guy. He's a great fencer. But yeah, I feel great. Had a great coach, all the Swedes and Poles and everyone from all around the world here, so it's awesome.
It was definitely an exciting fight. What was your favorite exchange?
I have no idea, actually. I don't remember. Yeah, I guess I had one that I'm really lucky. I don't remember which one, but it was one.
We'll catch that on instant replay, I guess. Is there anything you want to say to the audience out there tonight?
No, oh yes, thank you, and I hope Gregor Medvedchuk gets better real soon. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Hans. Enjoy your victory and the sweet spoils of victory. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Prizes will be awarded as well for best technical fighters as well. So this is something that I think is a very good trend that we've seen recently in recent years in HEMA tournaments, is not only awarding the victors, but also those, even if they didn't win, who showed exceptional technical ability. So in addition to the medals that will be handed out, there will be certificates awarded to the best technical fighters in each of the different disciplines.
There was discussions today about so forth. We've had an award for a best technical fighter. There's been talks about having an award for best technical fight, for the best fight in terms of...
Right, that was an interesting discussion that we had earlier today, because it was clear that there were certain fights between, you couldn't say one fighter was necessarily better than the other technically, but just between the two of them, the combination of the two, you had this excellent display of swordsmanship by both fighters, and it made some of the matches just really, really stand out.
Over to an interview with Francesco Loda, the Italian champion of rapier.
Well, I don't speak very well English, and it's Helter too, so...
Okay, we'll go slow. Just relax.
Thanks a lot.
You ready?
Okay.
Here I am standing with the rapier champion for the second year in a row, Mr. Francesco Loda from Italy. Francesco, how does it feel to be back here standing in the champion circle again?
Obviously, very good. Very fine. I'm happy. I'm happy to be here in this big and beautiful place. And happy to be here to show the study we do in Italy.
It's great to see an Italian fighter out here. It's great to see more Italians here this year also. I remember you in the live stream last year, and your fighting is still beautiful. Do you have any advice for the rapier fighters out there who are training to become better?
Study. A lot. Years. And don't believe in the easy results. Tournaments are very nice, very useful, but to study, to do the free assaults, that's the real way, by my opinion, to do historical fencing, historical research, and all these kind of things.
Thank you very much, Francesco. It was wonderful to talk to you. And that's all for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going back to the arena.
So while we wait, just another comment, Scott. You know, Pim Terminiello from School of the Sword in the UK, interesting thing that he and one of his cohorts did. Giganti, one of the most famous of all the rapier masters. Of course, his printed work is well known. We'll get back to this.
And here I have the winner of the 2013 Swordfish Sabre Championship, as well as the silver medalist in longsword, Gregor Brzezinski, along with his coach, Rafael, who's going to be translating for us. Gregor, how does it feel to come back again and be so successful a second year in a row?
Jak się czujesz z tym, że wróciłeś tutaj drugi rok z rzędu i zająłeś tak wysokie miejsce?
Jestem szczęśliwy, po prostu jestem szczęśliwy. A gdyby ktoś przed turniejem dawał mi te miejsca, które zająłem, brałbym je w ciemno. Jestem szczęśliwy, zadowolony.
Greg just said that he's very, very happy, and he also mentioned that if he would receive the proposition to take this, take these places and these medals before the tournament, he would take it.
Tym bardziej, że w ubiegłym roku zająłem pierwsze miejsce w innej dyscyplinie, w mieczu i puklerzu. Także teraz do miecza i puklerza dodałem jeszcze te dwie bronie.
Yeah, especially because in last year Greg was #1 in the short sword and buckler, so now he has the collection of the every single medal from the swordfish.
It's great to see you out here representing the strong martial scene in Poland, here in Sweden, and becoming more known to the world. Do you have any comments for the audience out there about your club and the HEMA scene in Poland?
Fantastycznie, że przybyłeś i że możesz reprezentować tak świetną szkołę, jaką jest Polska Szkoła Fechtunku Historycznego. Pytanie brzmi, czy masz coś do powiedzenia wszystkim, którzy Cię oglądają?
Jeszcze raz powtarzam, jestem zadowolony i pozdrawiam wszystkim i dziękuję wspaniałej publiczności. Thank you.
Thanks for the public. He's very, very happy, and just say thanks.
Well, Gregor, it's wonderful to see you. You're really unique for being so versatile and being a champion in so many different weapons. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you. Dziękuję.
Thank you.
Good night, gentlemen. Back to the arena.
So we have an update on our brave wrestler, Gregor Medvedchuk. Apparently, he went to the hospital. The report is that his arm is not broken. It is a dislocation. So that's good news. That hopefully the healing process on that will be a lot easier than an actual break.
Yeah, it sounded pretty nasty because
he cried out in pain. That was definitely the case.
Our first information that we got was that it was a clean break. I said the arm had broken off, but obviously it was a clean break of the bone. That's what we first said. But it was he's got a dislocated elbow. I understand it is.
Right. So that's the happy ending, if I can say that, is that it's not a break, but a dislocation. So getting back to Pim Terminiello. I mean, this is one of these really interesting stories where HEMA is based on primary source material, and the more primary source material, the more data we have, and the more techniques we have at our disposal. Giganti was one of the most famous of all the rapier masters. He was rumored to have produced another work, but nobody was able to find it, and it was believed by many that it was either lost or that he had never actually produced it. Pim Terminiello and his colleagues led a hunt looking for this, actually managed to locate this in an obscure archive, took it, copied it, transcribed it, translated it, and now they're publishing it. And I believe it's going to be coming into print next year. Very exciting, and especially from someone who is not only an instructor, but a fighter himself, who enters the ring and managed to win our third place in rapier. So
this is one of these really cool things about HEMA. At these live feeds, you see the actual fighters, the tournaments, but this is this world of research that you can't see in this display tonight, which is just.
And it's wonderful to have these people who sort of embody it all. And Pim he's a wonderful sportsman. He's an excellent fencer, and he's a first-rate guy, really nice guy. His wife is too. She's an accomplished fencer and competitor as well. Great couple, them, but also great researchers and translators as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us for the prize ceremony. It will start absolutely shortly. Sorry, shortly.
So the drum roll begins to mark the beginning of the medal ceremony.
Enter the champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, in front of us we have the medalists of the wrestling competitions. Not currently on site, but winning third place out of Uppsala Historiska Fäktskola of Sweden, we have Johan Dahlberg. Give an applause. Placing second in wrestling lightweight, we have Kit Smith from the United Kingdom in Kenneth Wagner. And taking first place in the wrestling lightweight, we have Mikael Widegren out of Gothenburg Historical Fencing Club, Sweden. What you see for medalists between here are their medals and prizes, as well as a beautiful trophy. We also have very, very generous sponsors who have given a lot of prizes that are just too many to be brought up here. Of course, you will all be able to admire them later. So, once again, a big applause for our lightweight medalist.
Champion Mikael Widegren receives the fruits of his labor for taking third place lightweight wrestling against the very formidable Kit Smith.
Moving on, we go to wrestling middleweight. Fighting out of Fäktskola Gdansk in Poland. Placing third, you have Simon Szyblowski.
Szyblowski from Smith, longsword fencer and wrestler.
In wrestling middleweight, placing second, fighting out of Uppsala Historiska Fäktskola, Sweden, we have Magnus Lundborg.
Lundborg of Sweden.
Taking first place in middleweight wrestling, fighting out in the Salzburg, Austria, we have Ingo Holweis.
The champion, Ingo Holweis. Is that how I say it, Matt? In really what was a very, very close match final. It was the slam of Ingo over Magnus.
Yeah, I think perhaps the best thing was when he lifted his opponent off the ground. That was impressive.
Earning in the 3-point
Technical move.
Technical move of that first round. A well-deserved goal.
What you see here are medals as well as trophy forms being presented to fighters, which are exclusive of this year's Swordfish. And of course, for the winner, a trophy.
And if you can't see, I don't know if you can see that at home what the third and second place trophies look like. They're actually a diamond. They're shaped like a diamond. It's a crystal shaped like a diamond, and inside it's got Swordfish 2013. Very, very neat award.
All right, and in wrestling heavyweight, I would like you all to give a great applause for Konstantin Speitel, who is currently doing well in the hospital, fighting out of in this Salzburg. Oh, you see it?
Stupid is fine, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you know, he got morphine, so I think he's better off than you. Sorry. Right, Konstantin Speitel, not in hospital, obviously, so give a great big applause for Konstantin Speitel.
After some confusion, Konstantin Stupel at third place. We didn't see him wrestle, same as Shablovsky, wrestle line. It was only the first and second place in each weight category.
Great.
Friends and family of Gregor watching at home will have confirmed news that he is fine. He has a dislocated elbow, and we'll most likely see him in the pub tonight.
Standing ovation for Gregor Medvedek, the brave wrestler from Slovenia.
Two-time champion Stefan Sannemalm again. He jumps to the top of the ladder.
Affectionately known as Ninja Boy to all his friends, Stefan Sannemalm, a great wrestler, great competitor. So now we are waiting for some more medals. I'll just mention some of the prizes for the winner of the Franco-Belgian tournament.
Oh, sorry, Matt, but it's the Ninja, the champion. We did that last year, and I guess it's become a bit
of a tradition.
A tradition or a gimmick. Sorry, Matt, you were saying.
So the prizes for our fencers, for the winner of the Franco-Belgian, there's a black fader by Peter Regenier, a sparring sword by Simon Klebowska for the ladies' longsword, an Albion longsword for the winner of the Open tournament, and a Regenier dagger for the winner of the rapier competition.
Enter the rapier fighters. Pierre Marco, the very same fighter Matt was just referring to about what was the name of the manuscript?
Yes, the Giganti source that he found and will be publishing. Pim Terminiello. Second place for rapier. And for the second time in a row, Francesco Loda, first place.
Loda, the Italian champion.
Successfully defending his first place title in rapier.
Not only an effective fencer, he's a beautiful fencer to watch. He won Best Technical Award for Dijon 2013, I believe it was this year. It's just a pleasure to watch him fence.
Right. And he wins the Regenier dagger as a prize as well. So the drum roll, and now the Saberists enter the field. Johan Lundby, Grzegorz Brzezinski, Andreas Engström.
Moving on to Saber. In third place, fighting up the Optivated Circle, fencing to Sweden, we have the Old Fox, Andreas Engström.
The Old Fox, a new nickname apparently.
Placing second, we have yet another Old Fox, fighting out of Stockholm's men, Sweden, we have Johan Lundby.
The Fighting Monk.
Johan Lundby out of Stockholm's Stigmen.
Soon to be ordained as a priest.
And taking first place in Saber, Swordfish 2013, is Gregor Brzezinski from Kiev.
Brzezinski, the champion, the dethroned last year's winner, the monk, Johan Lundby.
As I'm sure you all recall, the Saber third, fourth, and first, second were rather dramatic fights. And it was actually the second break of Saber during Swordfish 2013. The first one was actually broken during the pools. Obviously, these are very passionate men. So if you please get another applause.
Enter the lady longswordist, the Franco-Belgians. And the open longsword fighters.
In the Longsword Ladies Tournament, placing third, fighting out of magically both Örebro Historical Fäktskola and Gothenburg Historical Fäktskola at the same time, Sweden, Nada Sofie Geyer.
A young lady with a very bright future in competitive HEMA. Prodigy of Carl Rydberg of Örebro HEMA.
Fighting out of Skola Sword and Waterloo Sparring Group, United Kingdom, we have Gaia Claude.
Claudia with a very impressive tournament performance. She didn't have what it took to go all the way. It's an impressive tournament today.
Taking first place, fighting out of places I cannot pronounce it, EHMS, Finland, Elisa Keskinen.
Elisa Keskinen, first place winner for ladies longsword, with an impressive victory over Claudia Krause.
Dethroning as well last year, as we saw in Saber, the new champion, dethroning last year's champion. Keskinen dethroning Sofia Geyer in the quarterfinals. Ladies longsword, ladies and gentlemen, ladies longsword.
And the prize for ladies longsword, a sparring sword by Simon Klebowski.
Beautiful sword made by Simon Shablowski, who you can see in the back row, having come third place in the middleweight wrestling division. Smith and Fencer.
As I said, I can say now the sword was made by Simon Shablowski. Sorry, you wrote the sword. In the invitational longsword, which was very exciting to watch, albeit a bit dusty, placing third, we have fighting out of Gamla School of Sweden, Hans Görling.
Hans Jørnlund taking third place in the Franco-Belgian will be rewarded later for the open longsword.
Anders Linnard, senior instructor at Gothenburg Historical Fencing School, well-known figure in international HEMA.
Now Szabolcs will win a black fader from Peter Regenier as his prize for winning the Franco-Belgian tournament. The black fader by Peter Regenier, lifted high up in the air by Szabolcs Waldman of Lars Ensis, Hungary. Winner of the Franco-Belgian tournament.
Marcus Persson, a big year for Persson. He's really reached another level in his fencing, and I think we'll see a lot of him in the future. Jasinski again, who I believe is originally a sword and buckler fighter, moving over, testing the grounds of longsword
and saber.
And saber, and he's been very successful at that. Jasinski making his fellow countrymen proud that are here to cheer him on today.
The Alter Heron.
Hans Jørling, the King of Kings, a true champion. Hans Jørling is a true Alter Heron. The champion, the longsword champion.
Now, Hans, as a prize, has earned himself an Albion longsword as the first place prize for open longsword this year. Quite a prize indeed.
Hans of Hans of Gamla Stans Fäktskola in Stockholm, Sweden. Senior instructor together with Nicke Falvik. And ironically, the champion reaps the fruit of his labor.
The fruits of victory.
Hans Jörlind is the guy that does all the test cutting for Albion Swords. Test cutting consultant. A very competent crew and fighters in screen, ladies and gentlemen.
Technical awards for the best technical fighters now.
This is an award for fighters normally not in the finals, but this year we have some in the finals. The award is for fighters who have shown true to the schools, the manuscript, and also as a swordmanship or swordwomanship. So this is a way to encourage them to get the award to get even more excellent in what they are doing. So the first award for Rapier go to Rob Runekers.
Rob Runekers, who came in 4th place against Pier Marco Terminiello. Rob has recently opened a new school.
Yes, he was part of School of the Sword before, but now he's opened his own school, Comilitium.
And
he's been extremely active over the last year and a half, 2 years, both in the tournament scene and in the judging scene.
Very productive as well. He's done the bulk of the work for the tournaments for Swordfish.
From Ox.
Oh, some beautiful saber work from Betzenblischer. He really, some beautiful flourishes out of distance, moving out of distance, flourishing into distance.
For the Invitational Franco-Belgian tournament, Robert Molin.
Robert Molin for the Franco-Belgian. Also one of the 3 senior instructors of Gothenburg Historical Fencing School.
For the ladies' longsword, Amanda Trade.
Amanda Trail, you impressed a lot of people in Houston last year. now winning the best technical fighter in the ladies' longsword. It's her first time at Swordfish. Simon Terrell,
wonderful.
Excellent fencer, beautiful offline motion.
Simon Terrell, he's had a really beautiful fighting this tournament.
Gregor Medvedek, our wrestler, wins best technical
I want to go
fighter.
back to Simon Terrell. You haven't seen him in the live feeds, but he's always towards the peak of the mountain. He's right there in the top of the division. Also one of the faces to recognize. He has a bright future in competitive HEMA. Medvedek not yet returned from the hospital.
So, here before you, you have all the medalists, all the technical winners of Swordfish 2013.
Oh, explosion of confetti, ladies and gentlemen.
For the victor.
And with that, I want to say thank you for watching.
Matt, from Scott Helroth and Matt Gallus, that's all we have today. Thanks for your attention.
Next year.
See you
Over and
next
out.
year.
And this concludes the award ceremony of Swordfish 2013. Our medalists will be asked to go and get your lovely, lovely prizes that were too heavy for us to carry, and the rest of us go hug them. Okay? Thank you for a wonderful, wonderful
Can we fight for it?
This was unexpected, no?